Hi folks, welcome back to The Addicted Bookworm. Alright, so my brother's currently at work right now, so there's no movies being played, no copyrighted music, none of that type of stuff. And so today's a very important day because today marks 9 months owning my Nook Glowlight 4. Now, before I begin, I want to say this. Unless you are aware that Barnes Noble makes e-readers, you're really not going to find any kind of unboxing videos on YouTube. However, on TikTok, they're everywhere. If it isn't this device, it's going to be this device. And this is actually, for people that don't know, this is the oldest of the two dedicated e-readers that I own, and I will say I love both my e-readers to pieces. But they all have their own kind of thing. So why is that the case? Why is it that you really can't get unboxing videos with this? And that is because influencers love going to Barnes & Noble to get their books, but they don't want to buy their e-readers because basically Amazon has proven that they produce a good product on the backs of out of business independent bookstores, out of business larger bookstores, chains. So everything that all the bells and whistles that people enjoy about the Kindle is based on a company that was able to not only convince people that they just had to buy their books through Amazon, and all that money allowed them to perfect their e-reader. So, Barnes & Noble is the number 2. Their e-readers are not super popular. The only people that know that Barnes & Noble actually makes e-readers are people that have owned one before and know that they haven't suddenly stopped making them, and people that do not want to support Amazon anymore, but they're not really sure about Kobos. They want to have an e-reader from a company that they walk into and they get books and all that. And there was a really interesting, I'm going to get to the reader, but what was interesting is there was a little video that came out, and the question was, why would you buy a e-reader from a company that sells books? Girl, do you even realize that Amazon was originally an online bookstore? No, apparently not. Alright, so this is the Nook Glowlight 4. This is essentially the same one from, I think, back in 2021. However, they released it as a ocean teal color. And for people that have been going on and on about how they like their e-readers colorful, this is something that I would think be up their alley. Just like with the Kindle Basic, the color continues on. Unlike the Kindle Basic, there are some key differences. One thing they do have in common also is that they're not waterproof. Now, people that own these devices, they have no problem with that because a lot of them don't, go on a beach or whatever. So, down here, you have the little in here, that is actually a button, and you can press it and slide it. There we go. And it unlocks. Okay. Now, one of the huge differences between the Kindle Basic and the Nook Glowlight 4 is the position of the power button. Now, I have been hearing people complaining about how every time they use their Kindle, they sometimes will accidentally turn their reader off, or they whatever. That's the power button right there. Why is it? And I still do not understand this. Okay, so for thing is, the power button on the Glowlight 4 Plus is right here. Okay, why is it? Why is it that Kindle is the only brand that puts in the most inopportune, like just bad space? So these are books I currently have right now. 1 second. Alright, there we go. Okay. So, yeah, so these are the books I currently have. I have, I finished The Retirees a couple of days ago. But I have this one, which is the Booktown, a Mystery Series number 3. This is the 4-book one. I'm going to tell you about this one right here, okay? This week, I read the first book, okay? And I sat there and I was reading it. And when it gets to 25%, the book is done. So Monday through Thursday, I was reading like a chapter a day, and then Friday I read like 2 chapters, and yesterday I read a chapter, and today I read 2 chapters. I will tell you, the only thing that I really don't like about this box set is that it doesn't have, like, it'll say like 5-something hours until the chapter ends, but then all of a sudden you're in the next chapter, which does not make a sense. But that's a me thing, not a Nook thing. Alright, so one of the biggest draws that I love about this device is that it does not try to sell you more books. So these are just based on the fact that you bought, like I got Stephen King here because I got 2 Stephen King books on my Nook. Both of them are in archive. One's been read, one has not been read. The one that has not been read is The Mist. I do intend to pull it to active like the middle part of next month. Well, it'll go in archive. It'll go active. So you have library, you have store, whatever book you're on, which if you don't know what book you're on, I don't know what to say. Search and account. Account is a really interesting one because they have something called trends, and trends will tell you like how many days you've been reading, period. The point of trends is to get you to sit down and actually read maybe a page of the book. Now, the store is my favorite part of it because I like to see what deals might be out there. So if I tap store, I'm going to get the store. So they have like Nook daily deals. So we'll just hit that. And what is the daily deal for today? And that is, oh, clean and green. Okay, I'm not interested in that. But yeah. And then like you have your subjects, like your genres that, like, for me it was like horror and mystery and crime and all that type of stuff. But if you press here, they will have like different kinds of like books. And then to get out of the store, you press it and it goes back. Now my library, now some of these, the covers haven't appeared, but unlike the Kindle Basic, it doesn't mean you don't have access to them. I have about 4 pages of books. I could do a list, or I can just show cover, which is really cool. Alright, so I'm going to be very blunt. This does not have the best battery in the world. However, it is compact and light, and you can take it with you wherever you're going. I really happen to like that about the device. When I got the Nook Glowlight 4, I already knew about the battery, but I didn't care. Not because it was ocean teal, but because it was much more gentle on my wrist. My wrist right now is swollen, and I don't have any relief from that because I'm constantly going to work and constantly re-aggravating that wrist. So if you want a reader that has a really good battery and is not connected to Amazon, then definitely the Nook Glowlight 4 Plus would be a really great thing. But if you just want a e-reader and you don't really care about battery life, but you care about not giving your money to Amazon, this is a good choice. So for me, getting away from Amazon was it was a no-brainer. It was like, yeah, I'm going to go and I'm going to get away from Amazon. I'm going to rebuy a couple books that was on my Kindle, put it on my Nook, and all that. Now, some people will say, well, Nooks don't have as many books as Amazon. Barnes & Noble doesn't have as many books as Amazon. But Amazon has way more books than Barnes & Noble. And true, it does. But a vast majority of the people that have their books on Amazon, they have it on Kindle Unlimited, which means they can't put their books on here. Now, another thing that I like about the Nook line is these dedicated page turn buttons, and I know people really don't understand why in the world Amazon did not keep their page turn buttons. And that's something that really makes Nooks a lot better, because you have that page turn button, and the page turn buttons are not flimsy. They are really good, and I really enjoy using this device. Also, just like with Kindle, you do read faster on a Nook. Now, if you want New York Times best-selling authors, you want traditionally published authors, it's on here. It absolutely is on here. If you can go on their website and you can type in an author's name and their books pop up, they're going to be on the Nook. Plain simple. Now, this does not have dark mode. It does not have dark mode. That's one of the things that people are like, oh, where's the dark mode? They don't have dark mode. Nooks do not have dark mode. What they do have is called Glowlight, and that makes things like, more yellow or more white, and yellow light, of course, helps you out. Now, the Nook reading tablet has dark mode in it because the tablets have the dark mode. So if you want a device that has dark mode, then definitely the Nook reading tablet would be good for you. However, I don't really use it much because of the blue light, but I do try to figure out ways to kind of lower that blue light down to where it won't cause me to have a migraine. But if I did have to use it, I would use it for probably about 30 minutes, and that would be it. Of course, you can go on, I believe, the Barnes & Noble, the Nook reading app does have dark mode in it. I haven't checked it. Anyways, this is not a bad device for what you spend for it. It's with the discount, it's $139.99. I've had this for 9 months. I don't regret buying it. But as I said, you have to watch the battery, because I can be reading on this for hours, and my battery will go down pretty quick because I am reading for hours. I'm not reading for like 30 minutes. So yeah. So another thing about this device is that you can, just like with Kindles, you can purchase books from the device. What I prefer to do if I'm getting a book for my Nook is to purchase it from the device instead of purchasing it on the phone, because literally that was a freaking nightmare. Or it might have been the Kindle. No, it wasn't the Kindle. No, it was Kobo. It was Kobo. I just remember it was Kobo. Kobo, you can do that. Nook, you can't on the phone, because apparently they haven't gotten the notice that, guess what, you guys can do that. They allow you to download samples, just like with the Kindle. They allow you to download samples. Now Kobo does not. You have to buy the book. They will let you view a sample of it from your computer, but on the actual devices, no. So if you want to read a book, but you're not exactly sure if you're going to like it, you can actually have a sample sent, and you can read that. I have not yet read the sample from this book, so I will read it at some point. You can archive your books. You have a shelving thing here. I don't use it too much. I'll send to archive, but it won't pop up on here. What it will do is it'll pop up on my computer, and then what I'll just do is I'll just be like, yeah, I really didn't like the book, and then I'll just delete it from there. As I said, this is a really great device. It is not super heavy. It's really light. I really like it. Even with the case on, it's light. All in all, for what you spend for it and what you get for it, it's not bad. But yeah. And also, another thing is, I didn't have to pay any money to get this. They actually have several that rotate, but it all deals with like books and bookshelves and stuff. And then of course you press it, and you're back. Alright, anyways, I am totally in love with my Nooks. I love my Nooks so much. I think they're a great product. If you're not comfortable with like Kobo, and you don't want to go on the Kobo train, but you still want to leave Amazon, you can get a Nook. That's not really an issue. My issue I have is that if you go on YouTube and you want an unboxing or whatever, you have to get it through. You basically have to watch videos from people that do tech, not people that unbox and all that. But as I said, you can go on TikTok and they will have unboxings and people reviewing it. I'm guessing that they prefer to put it on TikTok than put it on YouTube. But as I said, it's great. I can slip this in my bag, no issue. Now this one, I can also slip into the bag as well. I definitely read a lot faster on this one, but I prefer to keep it at home. That way I don't lose it, because this was not a cheap device. It was like $289, but they charged me like $279 because I had a discount. But yeah, and then of course I decorated it and everything. Another thing I want to add about this device is, you know how Kindle buttons are real responsive and they're real, like you can you can hit it and it'll automatically turn on. This one you have to put force to it. So you hold it down for like 5 seconds and it turns on. It takes a little bit of a time to turn on because the whole system is starting to wake up. But once you have it on, you can read and all that wonderful stuff. So for the 9 months I have owned this device, it's been really great. The only thing I've had an issue with is it freezing, and that generally happens when it's exposed to like cold air. So like this is like the 16th of August, so like next month is September, and next month I'm going to be like going to Walmart and picking up like, you know, stuff for cooler weather. I will not be taking this out. I'm going to keep it in my bedroom and just use this one because this one doesn't freeze on me, which is great. I remember it was like 12 degrees out and this thing froze. I had to force it to turn off, and then I had to wait until it warmed up a little bit and to be able to turn it back on. That is the only thing I really don't like about this device. But other than that, everything else I really love about it. I love the store. I love the idea that I can get books at a very reasonable price. They have free books. They have all that type of stuff. And also they have something called Free Reading Weekend. And Free Reading Weekend is when Barnes & Noble looks through their catalog of books and they go and say, oh, hey, let's make this book free. And that was where I got Fallen into the Pit. And I read that in a single setting, and not single setting, but in one day. And then that's when I got the second book. As for that second book, I have decided that once I have read not just the 4 books that are in that thing, but either the Coffee House Mystery or the Booktown Mystery number 3, I will actually start reading that second book, but I will be purchasing the third book in the Death by Chocolate series. So anyways, sorry, that is my thing. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.